between what someone does and what someone says, in my coaching sessions, at the beginning, it's massive. It's absolutely massive, and it's signs of that fractured personality, which again goes back to the trauma-based mind control, which again goes back to the ruling families that have mastered this technology of scaring people into compliance and then selling that whole process as freedom. It's absolutely insane.
Man, they tell you what you want to hear and give you the shaft, don't they?
Well, they do, and sometimes people say, well, it's better than them giving me the old boot in the face, right? It's like Henry Ford said, you can have any car you want as long as it's black, any color you want as long as it's black, as Model Ts. That's how he described it. And today, a lot of people are thinking they're doing a lot of stuff out of their free will. Even if you take a high school student picking what fabricated job the ruling families have set out there on the table. Basically, they're just picking out a safety. It has nothing to do with their inner desires. Where am I going to feel the most safe? Where can I hide from master? How can I get less beatings? How can I make it to my deathbed inside the herd? And of course, this is an asinine way to live your life, because and that's why most people who are engaging in that lack of freedom, if you come across, there is no freedom in government, a lot of the government workforce. And if you come across a lot of the government workforce, these are the most traumatized. You can see it, they have the most addictions, they're the most medicated. And I know that's a general sweeping statement that doesn't apply to everybody. And there's a lot of great people that want to do altruistic work, but regardless of what you pick, a lot of people are picking based on fear, what they're going to do with their lives, and that's what leads to the depression. Because when you pick based on fear, you're going to pick usually pick the occupation that involves the least amount of freedom. So you're going to lock yourself in a smaller and smaller cage to where you can't breathe. You think you're the safest, but of course, that lack of control, where your entire day is scripted out for you by the Hollywood producers of our society, means you have no freedom. And like I said, in all the studies, what scares the human the most is a lack of control.
Absolutely. Wow, yeah, that's so big. And I just absolutely appreciate you explaining that to people, because I think that they don't get that message. It's all about getting that paycheck. It's all about taking care of their family, and genuinely, a lot of these people really do think they're being helpful. These rule followers, these people that are just going with whatever system it is. I don't think many doctors go, "Hey, I'd like to kill my patient." They genuinely have some part of themselves that believes they're being altruistic.
Yeah, they do, and that's where it's trauma based, because of course that doctor, unfortunately, like I said, surgeons and stuff, a little bit different category. But if you have the general practitioner, for them to ignore the fact that they can't make anybody healthy, again, it's a sign of that fractured mind. And there's only one way to get the fractured mind. They should really get one book on that and start understanding. And then if they could knock down a couple walls, they could be like, okay, I've seen 300 people this year. They've only got more sick under my tutelage. I think I'm a healthcare professional. What's going on here?
So what book would you recommend if they got one book? What would it be?
I think if you want to know how the inner workings of the mind go, for trauma-based mind control, there's a gentleman called Neil Sanders out of the UK. He'll put it out there pretty harsh. Nice. And he's got a couple downloadable books that are really good to show you that the people behind this know what they're doing, and it's kind of all they do behind the scenes is research how this goes. If someone wanted gentler read to more less abrasively get into how human behavior emanates out of the mind, anything by Dr. Gabor Mate. He's a Canadian psychiatrist, I believe, a medical doctor. Or psychology. He is brilliant.
Awesome.
He will go over the great thing about Dr. Gabor Mate is that he specializes in addiction and shows people how you get a broken human being. And even though he doesn't touch on it directly, it starts with the trauma. And you're going to find out how today we focus on the dysfunctional human at the end of the line. It's a production line. It's a purposeful production line. And we're missing the fact that how all these broken humans are produced. And Dr. Gabor Mate does a brilliant job at explaining the production line without really highlighting who's running that factory.
Exactly. Wouldn't want to be, it's like the behind the Oz's curtain, you know? They keep that hidden.
Not many people are brave enough to come out. There are a lot of brave medical professionals who do come out today and have basically all they're experiencing is the open mind concept. They're not out to really, go out and take a pitchfork to the American Medical Association and with torches and stuff. They're just saying, hey, my mind is open now, and I'm just going to tell you what's going on. And a lot of people are benefiting from that cycle.
Absolutely. And I think everybody that's listening is benefiting from your work, and I appreciate everything that you've done. I'm sure there's a lot of other things we haven't touched base on, and we would love to have you back on in the future if you're available.
Oh, Scott, anytime, Scott. I mean, I do this. I kind of tell people I do this for selfish reasons as well. I would love to walk out one day and be engaged by 50 totally functional, healthy human beings that have no addictions, who, give me a hug. And that's why I do it. I would love to have the world a little bit more at peace with itself, a little bit more healthy, a little bit more focused on what we need to help this planet survive another 500 years and stop the pain that we see in the world today. That's why I do it. So it'd be my pleasure to share some knowledge next time.